Colin Kaepernick, the most unlikely hero. I could not have imagined. I wouldn't have picked him among 100 athletes if you told me who's going to be a hero who starts a new civil rights movement. So now, did he start Black Lives Matter? Of course not. Did he? Was he the first to point out that African Americans have trouble with the police and don't quite trust them in their communities? Of course not. The great majority of African Americans know that, even if you don't know that. They've known that for a long, long time. But he did bring unprecedented attention to it. And he could have been left out on his own, and in which case, oh, look at this guy. It's that the one troublemaker, Colin Kaepernick. And the young Turks saying, hashtag I sit with Colin Kaepernick, but nobody else. Wrong. Now a lot of people are doing it. So, and now it brings more and more attention. And maybe, just maybe, we get some people in the country asking, hey, what's all the hubbub about? Oh, they think that they get different treatment from cops than I do. Huh, I never thought about it that way. Wow, wouldn't that be great? And I'm guaranteeing you right now that that is definitely not happening with most of the right-wingers who don't agree. But it is definitely happening with some percentage of the country. Probably a small percentage, but every day that this grows, that percentage becomes higher, where there are good Americans who say, hey, I'd like to hear their opinion on it. I don't know why they're so upset. Let's try to find out. So it started with Kaepernick, and then on Thursday night when the season officially began, Brandon Marshall of the Denver Broncos was the first to do it in an actual NFL official game because Kaepernick was doing it in the preseason. I suppose those are official too. And a couple other Seahawk players had done it in the preseason too. But there's Brandon Marshall who did it as the NFL kicked off on Thursday. Immediately there were ramifications. First, why did he do it? Marshall says, I'm not against the military or police or America at all. I'm against social injustice, and I feel like this was the right thing to do. He's of course right, but that of course means he must be punished. So sponsor has already dropped him. It's the Air Academy Federal Credit Union. Their CEO Glenn Streb said that is not a representation of our organization and membership. So that's it. He's already losing money over it. But he knew that that might happen. He had said, quote, they said you might lose endorsements. I'm ready for that. So it's not like there are no ramifications. These players, and not a lot of them are the very top of their industry. I mean, it's one thing if Tom Brady does it, well, he's got, nobody's going to fire Tom Brady. On the other hand, when you've got Brandon Marshall, a linebacker for the Broncos, doing it, he's a good player, but it's not like he has perfect job security. When Colin Kaepernick did it, there was actually a very good chance he could get cut by the 49ers. We did a story about how the rest of the GMs in the NFL, not all of them, but a lot of them, were furious with him and said on principle alone they would never hire him. So these guys are willing to risk a ton of money and have already lost some money, and they're doing it based on principle. Please pay attention to what they're saying. They're willing to lose that money and they're willing to risk their jobs because they're saying, look, we are not getting treated fairly by police in this country. If you are, that's wonderful, but that doesn't mean that everybody is. And it's proven that African Americans get arrested for certain crimes at much higher rates, even though they do not commit the crimes at those rates. The example I always use, marijuana, whites and blacks use it at the same rate. Blacks are arrested 4 times more than whites. Disproportionately killed when they are unarmed by police officers. This is real. We need to bring attention to it, not to hate cops, not to hate other people, not to hate right-wingers, but so that we can fix it. We can fix it with the right police training. So that's why I love that these guys are taking some degree of risk with their careers to show you how important it is to them. Now let me show you the rest of the NFL. The Seahawks said that they would be doing something united and together, and they did. Now they're not sitting, but they did lock arms, including the coach, Pete Carroll. And so I think this is their way of beginning the process. This seems a little safer to me, honestly, and so I don't like it quite as much as the sitting, but it's a start, and the first day of the season, on Sunday at least, not the Thursday night game, but Sunday was 9/11. It was the 15th anniversary of 9/11. So it was a little bit of a harder day not because that you shouldn't try to make America better on that day. You should try even harder on that day. But perceptions will be, how dare you, even more so. So I'll take it. Seahawks players doing a great job together, white, black, coaches, players, etc. Then on Kansas City, they also locked arms. But my favorite is the defensive back who put up his arm there, as you can tell, Marcus Peters. He's their cornerback. Now, that is never not cool. when someone does that as a form of protest, putting their hands up, especially if they have a black glove on, it is cool 100% of the time. Okay, and important in this case. Obviously, John Carlos and Tommy Smith did it first in the 1968 Olympics. Now, hearkening back to that is wonderful because you're saying, hey, I'm not just locking arms here to show unity. We're showing unity about this problem. So I love that they did that. And then I've got the Miami Dolphins. 4 of them took a knee. Arian Foster, who I love. That guy cannot be contained. I don't mean just on the football field. He gets in so much trouble for actually thinking. Sometimes it drives executives crazy. They're like, this guy has a mind of his own. How dare he? So this is not the first protest he has done, but it's unsurprising he'd be doing it. But fantastic. Jelani Jenkins, Kenny Stills, and Michael Thomas also participating for the Dolphins. And then on the Sunday night game, Cardinals versus Patriots. And yes, even Patriots are doing this. And it is, in fact, a very patriotic thing to do, of course. That's Martellus Bennett and Devin McCourty also raising their hands up. And look, I prefer the sitting because it's a little bit more dramatic and a little bit more clear. But I'll take the raised hand second. So I'm right there with you. So, hey, there we go. Now let's keep on doing it until a slightly larger percentage of Americans goes, yeah, I guess we could fix the police training. Maybe they shouldn't shoot 12-year-olds in 2 seconds flat. Maybe they should say hands up. Maybe they should figure out if it's a toy gun. Maybe we should actually help them to figure out what's a real threat and not a real threat, and how do you address that. Hey, maybe they should talk more to the communities they serve. Maybe all those things aren't such a bad thing. They're actually perfectly normal. Yes, that's exactly what we should do. And unfortunately, this country doesn't pay attention until its stars tell it to pay attention. So great job by these athletes bringing a very important issue to the forefront and putting it in the spotlight. Well done. Together we can change the media, make it more representative of you and not the powerful. Come join us, make a difference. tytnetwork.com/join.